on top of that, I done figured out how to make t-shirts. So I started the t-shirt shop. Then I moved the t-shirt shop and I put it into an appointment, and that's when I came up with. That's when December happened. No, I went too far. No, I didn't go too far. Keeping with what I was doing at the time, I don't know what to do. When my mama passed, I'm still on parole. I'm leaving this out, man. I came home from jail. I am still on parole. I don't get off parole for another year. So after my mama passed, I just kind of walked down the year making t-shirts and doing everything in my power to stay out the way. I'm still kind of rapping, but I ain't really putting as much energy into it because I done kind of got to see in the first part when I wanted to be a rapper what the industry consisted of, and I'm not really for that, right? It come with too much. You gotta have too much to be a rapper. That's why I'm finna stop rapping. I finna stop putting my effort into it because even if it worked, I don't have the pieces, nor do I want to put myself in that situation. Come with too much. So I'm doing t-shirts because I grew up in St. Louis. And in St. Louis, death and murder are a commonality that you just kind of got to get used to if you in the city. And there's always a dollar in death. That's how I came up with the idea to start doing t-shirts, is because there's always a dollar in death. Somebody is always going to want a picture on a t-shirt, or imagine if you could put it on some socks or a puzzle or something just to, you know what I'm saying, for the memory purposes. You could sell all of that. And my mother told me about tangible things. That is a tangible thing that you could put off into the world. So I started doing that. And I did that until I got off parole. And then when I got off parole, I went to finish my mother's final wishes. She told me that when she passed, she wanted to be cremated. One. Number two, she wanted her ashes to be reunited with my father. My father was in the military. He died when I was 3 years old. And he is buried in Leavenworth, Kansas. Her dying wish was, her statement, last rites, last wishes, or wherever you call it when somebody leave you and they tell you what they want you to do with their remains. She wanted me to put her back with my father because she missed him. And I went to go do it. And they put me off of the military base. And I got off parole already. They put me off of the military base because I was a convicted felon and I didn't really have no business being there. So I left, but I came back and I tried it again. And then they escorted me off the military base because I didn't really have no business being there. Needless to say, I leave, but I have family in Kansas City. That's where I'm from. So I called my father's other son. He was a cheater. There's a pattern. My father had 3 kids. In the matter, I was 3. I have a brother. I have a brother, and I had a sister. She passed. If you know me, you know the story, right? My father had a few children, and my mother knew about it. She was still cool with it. So I call my father's other son because I spent 20 years in the Department of Corrections. My little brother spent 20 years in the military, and he had rank in the military. I called him and told him that I couldn't get to my father's grave, and he told me he was on his way. He pulled up, told you my life a movie. He pulled up and told me to come on. I told him that, man, them people escorted me off of there in a Jeep with a gun on the back of it. I'm not going back on there. He like, man, get in the car with me, come on. He took me back into the building, and when I walked in there, them people was extremely perturbed when they seen me. But when they seen him, it all kind of softened. He went in the back, had a few words with the man that put me out, and he took me, he was my escort to go see our father. And I went and reunited my mother's ashes with my father, and then I lived December. But we're going to come back and talk about that in a second.